wanted to talk about this in my weekly, but I kind of lost track of it. But because I obviously, as you can obviously tell by the way that I sound in my glasses, because apparently everybody can just look at a guy and be like, oh, he likes anime. It's like we all like anime. That drug dealer that you know likes anime, you know. But you could just look at me. He's like, oh, he wears glasses. He talks proper. He likes anime. Yes, I do. But I realize now that I didn't necessarily like anime just because it was an animated show. I liked it because of the fact that it introduced me to a completely different aspect of the world I didn't even know existed at the age that I was. When I was a kid, I think the first anime I ever saw was Dragon Ball Z, and the thing that really sort of struck my attention was when it was an episode of Dragon Ball. I don't remember which one, but he popped the little pod thing and threw it, and it did the anime automatopoeia, and it was in Japanese writing. And I just remember looking at that, like everything else was in English, but this thing was in Japanese, and I'm just like, what did that mean? And as a kid, I was like, okay, I would never know what that means because I'll never visit that country. And then as time went by, I realized, wow, I could just go to a library and learn about Japan, and just the rest is history, thankfully. But yeah, watching anime had made me realize that like I was completely comfortable with the idea of like just completely ignoring the language barrier just so I could enjoy something. I was willing to read the subtitles in order to enjoy a good story and kind of like understand like cultural references or be able to recognize voice acting and stuff like that and stuff along those lines. Like I didn't know that the blue Kakurenja, I forgot his name, but he plays Saizo, and I didn't know that he was a voice actor for a handful of anime characters. After that, it's actually kind of dope. I forgot his name. I can't believe it, but watching anime definitely got me into Tokusatsu, and then I realized if I can watch Japanese shows, from Japan in Japanese, what's stopping me from watching other foreign language films from other parts of the world? And with that being said, I found myself really being a huge fan of telenovellas. Or rather, I found myself kind of being interested in telenovellas. And like at first, when I saw telenovellas, the first thing that kind of went to my mind was Ignacio. But like in time, I realized it's more than that. It's like it's more than is more than that sort of thing. And it's like granted, once you get past all the dynamic movements and the sort of like cheeky editing, the cheeky work and stuff like that, it's really like the stories are amazing. And like I'm not really too big into soap operas, so like, but I didn't know that a handful of soap operas in America were based off of like Spanish speaking telenovelas. So I found myself like watching like The House of Flowers on Netflix, which it's a lot going on there. And then I also there's also like the Telemundo on Peacock, and I found myself watching like this show called. First, I got interested in this one show. It was called Sin Tetas no hay Paraiso, and in English that means without breasts there is no paradise. And seeing this, like reading about it, initially it was like a woman apparently invest in getting breast augmentation so she can properly woo the a drug dealer of some sort. And I'm watching and I'm reading that and I'm thinking to myself, okay, this might be comedic. You know what I'm saying? It is not comedic at all. Not at all. Also, if you see there's a cut right here, this actually is an accident. I don't know what happened, but I accidentally scraped my own face, and it feels weird. Like it feels weird looking at it now because like I feel like that's gonna be like a permanent scar, but it just feels it's kind of embarrassing how I got it. Like I could like add up maybe a cool story, but nothing's gonna happen. But yeah, like I'm watching this. It is that is not. First off, the season that I saw on Peacock is actually the second season. So like, I actually have to watch the first season beforehand, and it's like, I mean, they like it gets crazy when you find out that the cartels are on. It's like it's basically like it's it's cartel related, and it's like it's basically a crime show. There's nothing comedic about this. It's just bizarre to me. The next one that I actually looked into was a series called Victorinos, which is also on Peacock. Part of me wants to like really enjoy Victorinos, but like the way that they treat Lena Maria, I don't like that. I am not a fan of that because they really go out of their way to sort of provide the drama. So there is a lot of it's in TikTok they call it SA for her, and I'm just was not cool with that. But without going too into detail, it's kind of a fantastic look into a curse, which means like there's this dude. His name is Ragnar, right? And like he goes into this airport and he encounters this guy, and he's like, "Dude, don't get on the plane." And the dude is like, "Man, forget you, bro. I'm going on the plane. Forget it. You're like, I'm going on this plane." And the plane crashes. Needless to say, at some point, people are like, "Wow, this dude who tried to stop this guy from getting on this plane, he's clearly he's a mentalist. He knows some things." And so they just like apparently he was coming to visit the city because he's like was about to like do some sort of predictions for an entire crowd of people. Like it's basically the equivalent of going to a circus, but it's just this guy, and people are like, hey, let's ask him what the winning lottery numbers are going to be, and they're like, okay, no problem, we're gonna just do that and make that happen. And the whole concept about the plane crashing is because three people who just happen to be born with the same name at the same time all just happen, it's like if they meet up, one of them is going to die. If not, all three of them might die. So he encounters like three women at the event who are going to have three kids that are named Victorino. And he's like, oh, dude, it's going to happen again. Except this time on a train. So like he freaks out. He writes down the winning lottery numbers, which is 111111, and he doesn't tell the three women that they're the ones who's going to have the kids, but he sort of just looks at them in the crowd, and he looks at them, freaks out, writes down the prophecy, and then dies. That's the first episode, man. That's like that's the one. That's the first episode, and like like I said, it has me because of the drama that comes from this. Because like all three of the women, they have their own separate lives, so you get a chance to sort of see how their lives are and stuff like that. But another thing too is that like I don't know. It's like I always find myself just like I find myself wanting to quit the show because, like I say, I didn't like how Lena Maria was being treated, but like I found myself like just wanting to know what happened to these kids. Like do they go into the train? Do something happen? Is Ragnar actually dead? I don't know. And then there's this other show. It's called Quien es Quien, uh, and like it's a story about a they're not biological twins. They just happen to look really 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 similar, and it's a regular case of Prince and a Pauper type situation, or like a case where it's like oh wow, this is like these two guys, two different lifestyles. One dude is like kind of rich, becoming member of his father's business. He's about to get married. There's the other guy. He's a mariachi singer, and he's he's kind of like down on his luck. And at some point they meet up with each other. At some point they bump into each other at this shopping square place or whatever. It's in California, so I don't really know. But boom, right? And it's like watch where you're going. You watch where you're going. And like then I mean there's a misunderstanding between them and the people that are pursuing them. So like one gets hit by a car, and doesn't die, but he doesn't really get hit by a car as much as he runs into a side of a car. You know what I'm saying? So he doesn't really like die or anything. He's just like kind of he's knocked out. So the poor one ends up getting like hijacked and put into the rich guy's wedding, and the rich one is living with the poor one's family, and he's like amnesiac, so he doesn't know who he is or where he is or whatever. So it's like imagine you're about to get married, you don't know the person, pull the old switcheroo with somebody else, and the guy says, "I don't even know who you are, lady. I don't understand what's going on. I'm sorry, I can't marry you." I mean, hilarity ensues. Am I right? The one thing I kind of did like about the difference between Victorinos and Quien es Quien is that one is produced in Colombia, so you got like all of this, so you actually get a chance to see how Colombia looks, and there's a lot of cities and jungles types of situations there, whereas in Quien es Quien, it takes place, if I'm not mistaken, either Miami or California or something. It's an American city, and you just you look at them side by side and you can sort of tell the cultural differences there. I like to think that there's maybe like a bit of a dialect thing too, like a difference in how they speak, but yo no sé más español to know if there's any differencias in there. Yes, estoy practicando español. Um, you know, con Duolingo, con Mango Languages, con Pronunciator. You know what I'm saying? Whatever I can. I've been, estoy practicando español para a veces 10 años. And I still only know like a few words. Mi español is still muy pobre. I mean, like, if I were to like wake up in another country of Spanish speaking people, I would probably be able to know how to speak to them, but I probably wouldn't be able to understand what they're saying unless they write it out and send it to me. And I'd just be like, con permiso, que donde mi, I forgot how to say to buy. Que donde mi, questo un diccionario con inglés y español. Estoy estadounidense. No comprende más español. Por favor, ayúdame. The big reason why I wanted to learn Spanish was because initially, for the obvious reason, and then as time went by, it was because I'm a big fan of professional wrestling, and a lot of the wrestling that I want to do is in like Mexico, and I wanted to be able to understand it. But my Spanish is not that good. Like, you heard me struggling with these sentences, man. Like my Japanese is even worse. It's like sumimasen, sumimasen, nihongo ga wakarimasen. Ego ga wakarimasu ka, bro. Or I could just always fake deaf and be like, And even then, my sign language is terrible. So if they even know sign, they'll probably be like, and I'll be like, I don't, I do not know sign language that good. Yes, I like to learn things. But yeah, though, but I definitely like for people out there is like if you like anime, you know what I'm saying. I say just sort of like just trek out a little bit, just sort of just sort of span out and expand your horizons a little bit. Like go to other countries with your entertainment based taste, so to speak. But yeah. Now I'm about to go ahead and like catch up on this other episode of Quien es Quien. I need to know if what happens at the wedding. Love and peace, y'all. Be easy.